Hey everyone, how's it going? How's everyone's Wednesday? It's good. It's not Friday, but it's Wednesday. It's close. My name is Sastry. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Union Crate. Before I go into what Union Crate is, just a little bit of background. Now, before founding Union Crate, I ran a consumer packaged goods brand called Bear Tea. In 2012, I was one of the very first companies to sell matcha before matcha was cool and hip. So we actually sold matcha throughout the United States. We sold to various retailers, distributors, and we sold direct to consumer. Now, running that brand, the fourth years running the business, we struggled a lot with supply chain issues. So we were selling on Amazon and on Shopify when Shopify had just kind of like started. We were still paying like $30 a month. I think now it's like 60 or 80. And we were selling to a lot of brick and mortar retailers. And managing a supply chain for us was really, really difficult because you had to manage your e-com channel on like 3 different dashboards, and you had to manage your brick and mortar channels through like EDI providers. So you're getting emails with orders, and you're dealing with like a dashboard specifically from like a company like SBS Commerce. So that was always a pain for us. What was really painful was us having to do demand planning and forecasting. Anyone familiar with what that actually is? Okay. So demand planning and forecasting, for people that don't know, is me being able to forecast what I'm going to sell to the customer, so I know exactly what I need to produce, what I need to store in whatever warehouse I have the product in, so that way customers get the products that they need at the right time. Now, we, struggling with this, decided to build a product to solve the issues that we had just for my company. Didn't realize that it would actually turn into Union Crate. We didn't know it was Union Crate at the time. So Union Crate actually was built off of us solving the problem for that brand. And now to solve that issue, we created a platform that has 2 products. The first product that we offer is a product called Stargate. What Stargate essentially does is solves the very first problem that we had at Union Crate, was centralizing our entire supply chain. So managing your e-com, your brick and mortar stores, multiple warehouses, managing trade spend, purchasing, traditionally being done in multiple platforms. Now the Stargate tool allows you to centralize your entire supply chain on one platform. Now customers who use Stargate right now have seen anywhere from a 50 to 60% reduction in the time spent managing their business. So for people that are spending it in operational roles, now they can direct that time to actually sales and marketing initiatives that helps them to actually grow. Now, the main problem is what I'm going to spend most of my time on here. And Stargate is traditionally sold to SMEs and startups, so companies that are now trying to build out a system. Instead of having to go to NetSuite, or instead of having to go to like a TradeGecko or a Stitch Labs, they'll use Stargate. Now, Almanac takes all of that data that we have flowing through Stargate and solves the demand planning problem that consumer goods companies have. And that's normally tailored to medium to large enterprises. Now, what Almanac actually does allows you to forecast what the demand of a product is going to be, strictly based on the consumption of a product at a specific location. Now, traditionally, what brands are doing, even Kraft Heinz and Pepsi and companies like Spindrift, is that they're forecasting their demand based on what they're shipping to a customer. So they're saying, hey, I'm shipping X amount of products to Walmart. Because I shipped it this month in this year, I think I'm going to sell that same amount next year. That is not an accurate way to predict demand. And what we do, we look at what the store is actually selling at a specific location, what time of the year that is, why the customer is buying that product. Are they buying the product because it's on promotion? Are they buying the product because of an ingredient trend? Are they buying the product for some variety of reasons? Our system tracks that, understands the why of the equation, and able to predict what a consumer is going to buy with anywhere from a 79 to 98% accuracy level. That's what we've seen with customers we're doing now. Now, you might be asking yourself how big of a problem this actually is. So the Institute of Business Planning and Forecasting did a research study a year ago, and they found that for every 1% in forecast error, a company can lose 3.5 million, I don't even know the number, $3.5 million in losses. I say it all the time and I forget. Now, as the same 1% relates to over-forecasting, it results in a $1.4 million loss. So you're looking at a $4 to $6 million loss for a 1% forecast error if you're doing $1 billion in revenue. Now, the average forecast error rate today is anywhere from 40 to 60%. And these numbers, a $4 to $6 million loss, is if you have a 1% forecast error. Now, this is a really quick use case. I want to show you guys how accurate Almanac actually is. This is a Fortune 500 company. And we did a 30, 60, 90, 120-day predictions. Now this, is any IBM folks in the room? This was compared against IBM, sorry. So when compared against IBM Watson, we were 37% more accurate in forecasting demand than IBM Watson for a 30-day forecast. When looking at a 60-day forecast, we were 26% more accurate, and a 60-day and a 90-day forecast, we were 29% more accurate. Now, the reason why there's like a really big gray bar is because this is forecasting for a lot of products, and the idea here is to be closer to the middle as possible. So that's kind of like what this graph shows. So just a really quick gist of what, how accurate UniCrate actually is compared to traditional tools available in the market today. Now, how are we able to actually, build a system that is that accurate? Well, we come from this world. Our entire team is built for CPG veterans. We come from Reckitt Benckiser, Pellon, Kraft Heinz, and even companies like Mohawk, which builds AI-powered e-commerce platform. We're funded by Sousa Ventures, Bain Capital, Laconia Capital, and Founders Fund. Some of our clients right now are Kraft Heinz, Spindrift, Lachlan Rice, Tula Beauty. You probably use all those products at some point in time in your life. I'm going to just do a quick demo right now of the Almanac product. You guys have any questions so far? No? We do it after? Okay. So, all right, so because of time, I'm going to just show you really quickly. So Almanac, what it does, it breaks, so most companies will essentially take a demand prediction and give you just like a demand number, and a brand will have to take the demand number and translate into something actionable for their supply chain. The beauty behind Almanac is that it takes that demand number and translate into something usable for the actual brand. So we're taking that prediction, breaking it down to a total company prediction. We're breaking it down to a customer level prediction. We're breaking it down to a product level prediction. And that is just for sales predictions. Then we have different modules within the platform that takes your product level predictions, breaks it down to bill of materials. So what ingredients are you going to need based on the demand of a product at a specific location? Then we take it down even further where we're predicting what you're going to ship out of specific DCs. So companies that have 90 DCs across the United States, they're spending millions of dollars in shuffling products across the country. We're predicting what you're going to ship out of those specific locations. So what I'm going to show you now is the sales prediction module. So what we're looking at is a total company prediction. And this allows finance teams to see what they're going to sell for the next 30, 60, 90, 120 days, and even a year. They can break down those predictions year by year. And as you can see, if like this is, again, dummy data, but this is where we want to be, right? For month one, the blue is the actuals. We want to be where the gray is, where we're actually 98% accurate to what we predicted. So this is going to predict all the way out month by month. It's going to give them quarterly breakdowns, and it's going to give them analysis of what we predicted versus what actually happened, and allows them the sales team to drop in manual predictions so they can compare that over time. I'm going to run through this really fast just because of time constraints. Now, we're breaking it down by product prediction. And keep in mind, this is stuff that traditionally in a big company, they have to feed into a data warehouse, and the data teams will have to take that information, then put it into Tableau. Then Tableau, they have to generate a report. Then the report has to be generated individually for logistics, for supply chain, for marketing, for sales. With a system, you just click a button, you get the answer. Takes 2 seconds, right? So what we're now doing is breaking down the product level predictions. So by product, you can actually see what you sold weeks back and what you're going to sell 4 weeks out, 8 weeks out, and so on and so forth. So we're breaking it down on a weekly basis. So just looking at the platform, you guys can, everyone can understand what they're going to sell from a dollar perspective and a unit perspective. Now, taking it down even further, looking at by customer, by product. So what we're doing is breaking down by channels. So a channel can be like specialty grocery, mass merch, or a distributor is a different channel. Some brands want to be able to predict what they're going to sell to each individual channel so they know how to focus their marketing efforts and so on and so forth. So now, for every individual product, so for example, let's say I just select like Costco or a specific location that I want to track from, I can now look for those channels, what I'm likely to sell for all my products. But if I choose club or if I choose grocery, what all the grocery stores I'm selling to. So at Kroger, I'm going to sell 3,000 case equivalents over the next week. By Harris Teeter, I'm going to sell this. Now, if I'm looking now, I want to go even further. I'm going to say, okay, Kroger is a customer, that's when it sells Kroger totally. What am I going to sell to Kroger for various ship-to locations? So now it breaks down Kroger to every single distribution center that I'm actually going to ship to. So what am I going to ship as a brand to every individual DC? Now imagine what that actually saves a brand, because they know for the next 30, 60, 90, 120 days exactly what they're going to ship to a specific warehouse. And now breaking down by Kroger what products are being sold, so you know what product is going to move off the shelf specifically for a Kroger customer. That is just quick gist of what it does, and if we had more time, I would show you how that breaks down into bill of materials, distribution, and so on and so forth. Any questions?
Yes. So are you taking into consideration like lead time units and any like bulk unit just for like profitability? So
Can you repeat the question just for folks?
So if we're taking into consideration any kind of like bulks or any promotions or discounts into it?
Yeah, like roughly, like you're gonna order it again for the following month, so just order an additional like 5,000 to get like the next.
Yep, so we take consideration of promotions and any kind of trade spend, because we're looking at, is the distributor or the brand buying it because it's on a discount, or are they buying it because it's actually moving off the shelves? So we're looking at those granularity as well, and taking into the lead times of what it takes to get from your manufacturer to your DC, to your DC, to their DC, to their DC, to their store. Yep.
Is it pure product, or are you doing some level of services? What the situation?
Yeah, integration is yeah, so are we doing it just as a product, or are we attacking any services to it? So it is just a product. Depending on the size of the customer, it's very different how we deploy the product. So for example, for a company like Spindrift, they're going to use the platform directly. But a company like Kraft Heinz, we control planters, barbecue sauce, and snack cheeses for global Kraft Heinz. So for them, they're not using the platform. We're feeding the actual numbers from the platform into a data lake, and they're taking the data lake into the Tableau for the first year of the business, for example, and then we go into integrating to their SAP or their Oracle and so on. They use this, they replace their Oracle demand planning with that. Yeah.
So I think a little bit, I'm going to answer this. A lot of pictures, we have machine learning.
Yep, that's how we do it. So we essentially use, do you use any machine learning or AI to actually predict it? Yes, we do. So we have to learn what is causing consumers to buy the product, the why behind it. So we're trying to learn location by location, what is the driving factor for purchase? Are people in Williamsburg buying products because it's vegan? Are they buying high protein products? And that was an easy example. Are they buying products because it's low in fat, whatever it may be, right? So we try to learn at a location what is actually the driving factor for a purchase, and by tracking those driving factors, we can actually predict what a consumer's likely going to buy. For example, we're doing a pretty big project now with Nielsen and Conference Board to predict if demographics or population density changes over the next 5 years, what does that mean for product purchases? So if this location changes to like more Latino versus whatever, what does that mean for products? Yeah, good question. So we have exclusive partnerships. Yeah, sorry, repeat the question. Where do we get the data sets? So we get the data sets from a variety of places. We have partnerships with companies like Nielsen and Numerator. So we take in point of sale data from over 62,000 retailers across the United States. We take in consumer panel data. We take in home purchases. We take in ingredients data. We take in promotional data. We take in placement data. We take in all those data from partnerships that we have.
Questions over here?
What percent of your customers are using sort of like APIs of distribution versus like the dashboard?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's an API. What percentage of customers are using API versus the dashboard? Versus the dashboard. How do you make that decision? Yeah, it depends on the size of the customer and what they really want. So for enterprise customers, we try to make them use the dashboard, mainly because we found that customers we don't use an API. We'll just feed it to their data lake. We'll give them a query to pull the information from us. SME companies will always use the dashboard because they don't have anything else. Like a Kraft Heinz will feed it to their data warehouse, the data lake. We try to make them, and we provided the interface for them for free and even customized reports, because we found that when they're pulling the data, the team that's putting it into Tableau, sometimes they might make a mistake and then they'll blame us. When in reality, it's actually just how they put the data into Tableau. So enterprises typically don't take the dashboard. They use whatever they're using internally, which is fine because it's, they're paying us lots of money. But we try to give them the dashboard if they want.
One more question.
Do you use any geospatial or location data for your as an input to your algorithms?
Do we use any geospatial data for the inputs? So we tried to use specific geospatial data. It's not that helpful, mainly because it's very rare that a customer wants a store level prediction, right? And geospatial will help with that. What most customers want is us to predict at the customer level and at the DC level. So it doesn't require us to actually go down to that level of granularity, and we tried to use it once, but it's sometimes just too much noise for us.
I feel like this gentleman has his hand up early.
Sorry.
I appreciate
Yes,
it.
last one.
Can you talk a little bit about your architecture and how you guys, for example, when you're doing predictions, is it running on your machine and you're pulling their data, or is it all running on their machines? How's it working?
Yep. So if you want to talk a little about the architecture and if it's running on their machine or our machine, it is running on our machine. When we base our pricing, we actually look at compute power. So they are pulling the predictions from us, mainly because a lot of the predictions are on an aggregate basis. So if, for example, we work with 10 companies that are in the same category, it's all going to learn from each other. So all of our models sit within us, and they're going to pull the data from us. We won't ever, it's just impossible for us to let it sit in their system. If it does, they still have to tie back to our.
I just wondered if it was your architecture was entirely abstract to customer. You could just sort of license it out.
No, we can't license out the architecture. We can just license out the polls, for example.
Awesome. Great questions tonight, guys. Huge round of applause again for Shashri of Union Crate. Shashri, if you can hang out for a little bit, I feel like some folks are going to want to try and grab you. And we'll have Natasha.